My mother stood in my backyard the morning of my wedding and said the words I'll never forget. "You're humiliating this family with a backyard barbecue wedding." My sister laughed. She was filming an Instagram story, panning across the folding chairs and string lights like they were a crime scene. "This is so embarrassing," she said to her phone. "Pray for us, guys." I didn't say anything. I just checked my watch. 4:45. 2 minutes. Then I heard it. That low, rhythmic thrum cutting through the air. Whoop! 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 Everyone stopped talking. Heads turned toward the sky. My sister's smile froze. My mother's mouth opened, but no sound came out. The helicopter descended over the back corner of our property, rotor wash sending napkins spiraling into the air. I smiled for the first time that day. Want to know what they didn't see coming? Before I tell you, drop your country and the time in the comments. It's 3 a.m. here, and I need to know I'm not alone in this. And hit like if you've ever been completely underestimated by your own family, because what happened next changed everything. Let me back up. I grew up invisible. My sister was the golden child. Pageant winner. Honor roll. The one whose photos covered the fridge. I was the quiet one. The one who spent weekends in my room teaching myself to code. No one asked what I was working on. No one cared. I put myself through state college. Lived in a 400-square-foot studio. Ate ramen 4 nights a week, but I met someone there who changed my life. A professor who'd sold 2 companies. He gave me one piece of advice. Build in silence. Let success make the noise. So I did. I spent 5 years building a software-as-a-service platform for mid-sized logistics companies. Nights, weekends, every spare hour. At 28, I sold it. The number? 8 figures. $11.3 million after tax. I signed the papers in a conference room in Austin. Wire transfer hit my account 48 hours later. I told no one in my family. Why would I? They never asked about my work anyway. When I came home for Christmas that year, my mother looked at me over turkey and said, "Still doing that computer stuff?" I said yes. She nodded and turned back to my sister, who was talking about her Instagram engagement rate. I learned something else in college, too. Something that would save me years later. I kept every receipt, every email, every contract, every bank record. I have a safety deposit box with bound folders, exit documents, term sheets, NDAs. I learned that the hard way after my sister once stole a $2,000 scholarship check that had my name on it. She cashed it. Said it was a mistake. My parents believed her. I started keeping records that day. I met my partner 3 years after the sale. Someone who loved me for who I was, not what I had. We got engaged quietly. No big announcement. Just us and a bottle of wine on our back porch. When I told my family, my mother insisted on an engagement dinner at her country club. That's when it started. We sat down, ordered appetizers. My sister was on her phone. Then my mother cleared her throat. "Your father and I have been talking," she said. "We've taken over the wedding planning." I blinked. "Excuse me?" "We can't have you embarrass this family," she continued. "We've already booked the club. The same ballroom your sister wanted for her wedding." My sister looked up and smiled. "I found the most amazing florist," she said. "Celebrity clientele. He's flying in from Los Angeles. We've put down deposits," my mother added. "You'll reimburse us, of course. It's about $150,000 so far." My fiancé's hand found mine under the table. I squeezed back. "I appreciate the thought," I said slowly. "But we're doing a backyard ceremony. At our house. Just close friends and family." The table went silent. My mother's face hardened. "That's unacceptable." "It's my wedding," I said. My sister laughed. It was a cold sound. "My followers expect luxury content," she said. "You owe me this. Do you know how much engagement a high-end wedding gets?" "This isn't about your Instagram," I said. My mother stood up. "You have 1 week to come to your senses," she said. "Otherwise, don't expect us to show up. We will not be part of this embarrassment." She walked out. My sister followed, still filming. 3 days before the wedding, the family group chat exploded. 47 messages in an hour. My sister had sent a mass email to half the guest list. The subject line? Wedding postponed due to financial issues. My phone started ringing. Cousins, aunts, friends asking if I was okay. I sat on the kitchen floor staring at the screenshot someone forwarded me. Then the doorbell rang. My mother stood on my porch holding a 3-inch binder. "This is the contract," she said. "Sign it and we'll fix this mess for you." "I'm not signing anything." "Then you'll be standing in that pathetic backyard alone," she said. "I've already told the family not to come. No one wants to watch you humiliate yourself." She dropped the binder on my doorstep and left. I closed the door, slid down to the floor. My fiancé sat beside me. "Do we call it off?" they asked. I looked at the binder, at my phone, at the group chat still exploding with messages. For 10 long minutes, I really thought about caving, letting them win, letting them take over, just to make it stop. Then I remembered the folder in my safety deposit box. I pulled out my phone. One call could end this. I thought I'd lost. But I hadn't even started fighting yet. I called my wealth manager. She picked up on the second ring. "I need the account summary," I said. "And I need you to email it in the next 10 minutes. "Is everything okay?" "It will be." 7 minutes later, the PDF landed in my inbox. I opened it. Account summary, portfolio breakdown, trust disbursement schedule. The number at the top, $11,347,622.18, liquid. I forwarded it to my lawyer with a 1-line note. "Prepare a cease and desist for defamation. Include an asset summary for potential litigation." She replied in 2 hours. "Draft ready. Say the word." I showed my fiancé the PDF. They stared at the screen for a long time. "You've never told them?" they asked. I shook my head. "Why would I? They never asked. I didn't send the letter to my family, not yet. But I took a screenshot of the account summary. And I saved the cease and desist as a favorite in my email, just in case. Because here's the thing about proof. It's not about waving it around. It's about knowing you have it when the moment comes. And I knew that moment was coming soon. I could buy that country club if I wanted. But money wasn't the point. I needed them to see who I'd become. And I had a plan for that. The day before the wedding, my sister posted an Instagram story. A black screen with white text and a broken heart emoji. "Family gathering canceled. Pray for us." Within an hour, it had been shared by 200 people. My mother called every aunt, uncle, and cousin personally. I know because 3 of them called me after. She told them I was broke, stubborn, refusing help, that I'd pushed the family away. Then, the morning of the ceremony, I woke up to the sound of trucks in my driveway. I looked out the window. A catering van, a rental truck with a massive white tent, 2 crews of workers, and my mother standing in my yard directing them. I walked outside in my pajamas. "What are you doing?" I asked. "We're saving you from yourself," she said. My sister stepped out of her car, phone already recording. "Smile," she said. "We're fixing this disaster." Workers were unloading chairs, tent poles, linens. "This is my property," I said. "You need to leave." My mother stepped closer. "This is for your own good," she said quietly. "Now go inside, get ready, and let us handle this." "Get off my property," I said. "Now, or I'm calling the police." My sister laughed. "You don't have the spine," she said. I pulled out my phone. But I didn't dial 911. I dialed someone else, a number I'd saved 2 weeks earlier. It rang once. "We still on schedule?" I asked. The voice on the other end was calm. "Locked in. Landing at 4:47. I smiled. "Perfect. See you then." I hung up. My mother was staring at me. "Who was that?" she demanded. "You'll see," I said. "At 4:47. The person I'd called was my former business partner. The one who'd helped me scale the platform before the sale. He was now a venture capital executive. And a very good friend. While my mother tried to argue with me, I opened my email. I pulled up 2 documents. The cease and desist my lawyer had drafted. and a copy of my property deed. I walked over to the catering company's site manager. "Hi," I said. "Do you have a contract for this event?" He nodded, pulling out his tablet. "Yes, ma'am. Signed by a Claire Donovan." "That's my mother," I said. "And this is my property. Here's the deed. My name only." I showed him the document on my phone. His face changed. "I'm the sole owner," I continued. "I did not authorize this event. You're currently trespassing. I have a cease and desist here for defamation related to this situation. If you'd like, I can forward both to your company's legal department right now." He stared at the screen. Then he radioed his crew. "Pack it up," he said. "We're leaving." "What?" my mother shouted. "We have a contract." The manager ignored her. 8 minutes later, the trucks were gone. My mother stood in the driveway, shaking. My sister had stopped filming. "Who did you call?" my mother asked again. I checked my watch. "You'll find out in 6 hours," I said. Then I went inside to get ready for my wedding. 2 hours before the ceremony, my Aunt Margaret pulled me aside. She was one of the few family members who'd always been kind to me. "I need to tell you something," she said quietly. We stepped into the kitchen. "Your sister is in trouble," she said. "Financially," I waited. "She owes $60,000 in credit card debt. Your mother co-signed a personal loan for another $30,000. The sponsorships dried up 6 months ago. She hasn't told anyone." My aunt handed me her phone. A text thread with my mother. One message stood out. "Once she's married and settled, she'll help us. She always does what family asks eventually." I read it twice. "They were planning to ask you for money," my aunt said. "The country club wedding was never about reputation. It was content for your sister's dying Instagram, and then they were going to hit you up for a loan to cover the debt. $89,400. That's what my sister owed. My mother was on the hook for half of it. And they saw my wedding as the perfect setup. A big event, a captive audience, and a daughter who'd be too polite to say no once she was locked into the family again." I looked at my aunt. "Thank you for telling me," I said. She squeezed my hand. I wasn't angry anymore. I was just clear. I knew exactly what to do now. Let the ceremony speak for itself. I didn't confront them. I didn't argue or defend myself. I went upstairs to my childhood bedroom, the one I'd moved back into my house as a guest room. I slipped into my dress, simple, ivory, off the rack. It cost $300. I didn't need it to cost more. I walked downstairs at 4:15. My fiancé was waiting by the string lights we'd hung ourselves. 50 people were sitting in folding chairs on the lawn. 50 people we actually loved. Friends from college, co-workers, my Aunt Margaret in the third row. My mother and sister stood in the back, arms crossed. Phones out. I nodded to the officiant. "Let's start," I said. The ceremony began. We exchanged vows, short, honest, the kind that actually meant something. I heard my sister whisper to my mother, "This is so low rent." I didn't react. At 4:45, I checked my watch. 2 minutes. My fiancé saw me glance down and squeezed my hand. They knew what was coming. I squeezed back. Then I heard it. The sound I'd been waiting for. Low. Rhythmic. Growing louder. A few guests looked around, confused. Then someone pointed at the sky. The officiant paused mid-sentence. Everyone turned. My mother's face went pale. My sister's phone dropped to her side, and the helicopter came into view. It was a black Airbus H-125. Sleek, professional, expensive. The rotor wash hit the yard and sent napkins spiraling into the air. A few people gasped. Most just stared. It touched down on the open corner of our 2-acre lot, exactly where we'd cleared space. The door opened, and Jonathan Cray stepped out. If you don't know the name, look it up later. He's number 47 on the Forbes list. Net worth, $4.1 billion. He was holding a bottle of 1990 Cristal and grinning. He walked straight to us. "Congratulations," he called over the dying rotor noise. He hugged me. Then my partner. Every single phone in that yard was recording now. I wouldn't miss this for anything, Jonathan said, loud enough for everyone to hear. The smartest founder I ever backed, getting married. This is a good day. He handed me an envelope. I opened it. 2 tickets, a printed itinerary, honeymoon, 4 weeks, New Zealand, Bali, and the Maldives. All on his private jet, a Gulfstream 650. Departure tonight. 11 p.m., villas booked. Everything arranged. You built something incredible, Jonathan said. 11 million well spent, right? Best exit I've seen in 5 years. He said it to me, but the whole yard heard it. He raised the bottle of champagne. To a woman who built an empire in silence, he said. That's class. That's how you do it. The guests erupted, cheers, applause. Cousins rushed forward to congratulate me. Friends were hugging each other, laughing. My Aunt Margaret was crying happy tears. I looked toward the back of the yard. My mother stood frozen. Her face was white. My sister's phone was still in her hand. The Instagram story still recording. She watched it for 5 long seconds. Then she stopped the recording and deleted it. Jonathan leaned in close. Want me to stay for cake? He asked quietly. I laughed. A real laugh. We're good, I said. Thank you. For all of this. He winked. You earned it. Enjoy your day. He walked back to the helicopter, waved once, and lifted off. The yard was chaos now. Questions, congratulations, disbelief. My mother tried to approach me. I turned back to my husband. We cut the cake, and I didn't look at her once. We left for the honeymoon that night, straight from the backyard to a private airfield 30 minutes away. Jonathan's jet was waiting. We spent 4 weeks in some of the most beautiful places on Earth. Quiet beaches. No phone calls. No family drama, just us. When we came back, there were 12 emails from my mother in my inbox. All apologies, all variations of I didn't know, and we only wanted what was best. My sister sent a 2-line text. I'm sorry, I was wrong. I didn't reply right away. I took a month. I thought about what I actually wanted. Not revenge, not humiliation, just boundaries. So I hired a lawyer and drafted a simple agreement. I paid off my mother's portion of the co-signed loan. $30,000, one time. In exchange, she signed a legal release. No future financial asks, no claims, no expectations. It was notarized and filed. My sister and I don't speak often now, maybe 3 times a year. But I heard from my aunt that she's working a real job. Project management at a mid-size firm. She deleted her influencer accounts. I think that's good for her. My mother respects my space now. We have dinner twice a year. Neutral restaurants. Polite conversation. It's not warm. But it's not war. And that's enough. I started a foundation 6 months after the wedding. It funds first-generation founders who are building in silence, the way I did. We gave grants to 5 people in the first year. It's named after my professor, the one who taught me to let success make the noise. The ceremony photos are framed in our living room. String lights, folding chairs, 50 people we love, and in the far background of one shot you can see the helicopter. That photo went viral for a week. People called it a power move, a flex, a takedown. But that's not why I did it. I did it because I finally understood my own worth. And I didn't need anyone's permission to live it. Not my mother's, not my sister's, not anyone's. Class isn't about what you spend. It's about knowing who you are when no one's watching, and staying that person when everyone is. Here's my question for you. Have you ever had a moment where you proved someone wrong without saying a word? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one, and if this story meant something to you, hit subscribe. There's more where this came from. This story is a fictionalized dramatization. It is not legal or financial advice. Thanks for listening. And remember, build in silence.